We're in earnings season, and you know what that means. The banks are leading it off. And we're not done yet just because we got a few of the big banks reporting. We're getting a bunch of the regional banks this week. And these are important this go around because of what happened last year with some of the other regional banks, some that are no longer in existence. So, which are the key regional banks you should be watching this week? I've brought you 5. Let's dive right in. Okay, so the first one is one of my favorites. We've talked about it many times. PNC Financial Services, ticker PNC. And as you can see, it's got a great earnings surprise track record. Just those 2 misses over the last 5 years. But this one back in 2023, as small as it is, just 11% miss there, was around the period when we had the banking crisis, when people did start to get nervous. You can see the shares plunged here to start 2023 on all the fears of the banks, stayed down there for numerous months before getting this mini rally. And now we're seemingly back up to right where we were when things plunged down. But these banks are cheap. PNC, it's trading with a price to book ratio, which is what you want to look at with banks, of just 1.2. And remember what the bank analysts always say, you buy the price to book at 1 and you sell at 2. Well, it's not even close to 2 because, as I just mentioned, it's at 1.2. You also get a nice dividend with PNC. It's yielding 4.1% here. So this is definitely one of the bigger regional banks that I'm going to be watching this week. Okay, staying on the banks, obviously, we're going to switch it up with U.S. Bancorp, ticker USB. And this regional bank also has an outstanding track record, as you can see. Just 2 misses with USB, but you can see one was as similar to PNC last year, a little bit later than what PNC did, but this is just a small little miss there of 0.88%. So almost nothing there. They almost tried to meet it there, but just didn't quite make it. But the chart looks similar, and this is what we're going to see with all the banks. You got the big sell-off during the banking crisis. Tries to recover a bit here, but it didn't. Then we did get the recovery, but now it's stuck in this narrow trading range. It has a price-to-book ratio of 1.3, which is also cheap, and even a nicer dividend at 4.7%. So that's U.S. Bancorp, ticker USB. Then we're going to switch it up to a Chicago-based regional bank. Many people in Chicago know this one, Wintrust Financial, ticker WTFC. It's a little bit rockier on the earnings miss or beats with Wintrust, and it is coming off of a big miss last quarter, 23%. But it didn't seem to impact the shares all that much. This is one of the few that is so far retaken what it was at before the banking crisis here. But and then it looks like maybe it even got to a new 5-year high briefly before pulling back. So Wintrust, still cheap as well with a price to book ratio of just 1.2, but it does pay a lower dividend, yielding just 1.9%. So this isn't one of the banks you want to be in if you're looking for that juicier dividend payout. But that's Wintrust, ticker WTFC. And then one of the banks I own based in Arkansas, Bank OZK. It's a little bit different of a regional bank than some of the others because Bank OZK does construction loans. Yes, some for CRE on the commercial side, but a lot of residential, mostly apartments/condo buildings. And they're not just regional in their own region, they are nationwide. One of their biggest markets right now for lending is Miami. And all those skyscrapers going up there in Bricknell and all of that area are from Bank OZK. But look at its earnings surprise track record. It did get rocky last year with 2 misses, just a 1.4% and then a 0.68%. But it's turned it around with 2 green arrows the last 2 quarters. But we see a similar type of pattern. The sell-off early last year, this one tried to rally, sold off again. It's rallied, but it's gotten a little bit weaker here. And I feel like it's attractive once again. It's trading with a price to book of just 1. So it is right where the analysts say to buy this. And it pays a nicer dividend, which it just raised for this quarter, yielding 3.7%. So the question with Bank OZK is, can it break out of this trading range? It tried to get there at the end of last year, but failed. And this is a real key because we're going on year number 4 with it in this range. So we'll see on Bank OZK what happens this quarter. And then we're going to wrap it up with a Texas-based bank, Comerica, ticker CMA. They're also in Michigan. This is my first major bank account as an adult, was at Comerica when I was at the University of Michigan. And so I have fond memories of Comerica. But as you can see, it has 3 misses. So that's a pretty good deal. And it actually did not miss in 2023. It's the only one of these banks that didn't miss during the banking crisis of last year. But the chart looks similar. Sold off big in March there, March and April, really. And it got a little bit of a boost, sold off again. It's gotten a little bit of the boost back into 2024, but much like Bank OZK, it's weakened a bit and it's just kind of hovering, waiting for something. But this is a big sell-off here based on what it was doing to start 2022. How cheap is it? It has a price to book of just 1.1. So that's really cheap. And its dividend is yielding 5.5% now. 5.5%, the highest out of these 5 banks. But any of these regional banks are ones that, everybody's kind of cautious on right here. And you can see from all of these charts that that is true. The street is very cautious. Now, I believe that the banks are one of the most undervalued sectors on the market here. Used to be energy. Energy's still cheap, but the banks are dirt cheap. Nobody wants to be in them. They can't hold any kind of rally. This has been true of, the last 15 to 16 years. But at some point, these banks will turn around. I'm still a believer, and I'm going to be watching all of these earnings reports this earnings season, and so should you. So keep the banks on your radar. They will be reporting throughout this week and a little bit into next week as well. So these are going to be big, but we're also getting a lot of other stocks that are prominent in this economy. So you don't want to miss those either. I'm going to be bringing you more videos this week with the other stocks you should be watching outside the banks. So be sure to subscribe. Get us at Zacks.com/YouTube. That's Zacks.com/YouTube. And I'll see you again next time with some more earnings charts.